And once more, we welcome into the studio Kathy Holman, Prairie Wife in Heels. Hi there. She's making faces at me.
I was like, can you turn my volume down? That might be on the video. Sorry.
Go somewhere else.
Good morning. Happy Monday.
So she brought presents, just so you know. I got choke cherry jelly.
Yeah, I made choke
I don't know
cherry.
where you find time to do this stuff. My
goodness.
goodness.
I don't know either some days. Choke cherry jelly and syrup because it's that time of year.
But it must save you money.
Do
you like what I did there?
I feel like, yes, it does. Yeah, to tie in because, wait, where is it on here? Somewhere about saving money by giving homemade gifts.
Yes, giving homemade gifts. So we're going to continue our conversation that we started on Friday because there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Saving money and staying out of debt.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Kathy and I, Roger and Kevin, just telling stories on ourselves about what we don't do well.
So we were on a road trip to Cody this weekend, and my husband and I were kind of usually like once a year we touch base. What are our big fiscal, vision for the next year? Blah blah blah. And he was just laughing about the fact that I'm even participating in a positive way in this conversation because, as I said last time, I'm not really known for being the fiscally responsible one in our family. I pay all the bills, and that's my job, so I kind of like have an idea of what's going in and out. But I mean, online spending, I got Amazon Prime and we're besties.
Gotcha.
So, but anyway, so what we were talking about last week, there were so many people that wanted to hear some more tips about how to be better and how to erase debt and limit your spending. That, as Susan said, we're continuing it. So just to throw a statistic out there, the average household has approximately $6,577 of credit card debt.
Right.
So that's kind of what we're talking about is how you can pay that down. What can you do to be more fiscally responsible?
Right.
Roger, what about you? Do you have any tips or tricks that you were thinking about after last week's show to help save money?
No, basically, what you suggested, and I know that's, see, I'm blanking on his name now, the guy.
Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey, thank you.
Yeah.
It seems logical. As we discussed, I think the idea of paying the smallest one first and then next and then working your way up to the big bad ones makes a lot of sense, because if you're just kind of trying to whittle them all down, you're still stuck with all of them for a longer time, I think.
You're still treading water.
Get one payment out of the way, then the next payment. I think it just makes sense. Yeah.
Well, and the debt isn't all credit card debt, too, because, as we mentioned before, like I'm looking at my age range here, and the average debt is $108,000. Now, that includes mortgages and cars and all that sort of thing. So, and we are under that, I'm happy to say. But, one of my friends, Carolyn, said, and this really spoke to me, I have long talks with myself about needs and wants and enough. And you should see the faces that Kathy is making right now. Many times I can talk myself out of a want by thinking about enough and how blessed I am to have enough and what I can do with the money for those that don't. Wants went out a lot of time, but with only one income, I have to be careful of the wants taking precedent over the needs, like fixing things around the house and whatever. Not always fun or cost effective, but haven't dug too big of a hole yet. So, kind of going along that, one of the pitfalls that I fall into is the I deserve this.
Oh, yeah,
very
treat
much
yourself.
I treat myself, I deserve this.
Yeah.
And that walks into a whole other category about how do you self-care and how do you take care of yourself or whatever. But when I get hassled and whatever. So, and I was showing Kathy, okay, so school supply time is bad for me. I am an office hoarder. So I'm like, oh, look, all the pens are on sale. I've got 4,000 pens and I need more. So I bought myself a clipboard, the big $1.88, which I have been using. So that is kind of a need around here to keep things.
I think that you go buy those clipboards.
But I also bought myself one of these, which is an LCD kind of note taker thing. So you write on it, right?
And if you go watch the video of this, which will be up this afternoon, you can see it.
And you can see it. And it writes and then you press a button and it disappears. Do I need that? No. Is it handy? Yes.
Is it cool?
Wait,
Definitely.
This is a note taker?
But I said, I'll show it to you later. It's like
as opposed to a pad, a pencil?
Well, it's a pad. It's a jotter. It's a pad.
But it's like electronic.
LCD.
Yeah.
So So here's the deal. This
is
what is occurring to me as Susan is saying this. I find that, we've all lived paycheck to paycheck, right? We've all been there where which bill needs to be paid on the 21st, which one can you have be a week late and you're not going to get in trouble for it. But I find find that there's certain times in my life where I need to be reminded that I can do a better job. So for Lent this year, I gave up shopping and buying anything for myself the whole entire 40 days.
How'd that go for you,
No
Kathy?
lotion, no nothing. I just had to use what I had. And it was really, really hard because I learned that I shop to make myself feel better. Like Susan was saying, when I'm having a down day or something like that, that is what I like to do. Pick up something here at Target, and I admitted last week I am totally guilty of the it's on clearance. I'm saving money by buying this.
Of course.
But honestly, I learned, first of all, that I am way more wasteful than I need to be. So I really learned, especially with like the beauty products and stuff like that, I have to finish what I have before I can replace it, as opposed to, oh, that looks like a nice scent or something like that. So giving up any kind of shopping for 40 days really made me aware of my impulse purchases and what that whole needs versus wants. So if you are struggling with shopping or things like that, even if your budget is okay, it's just not, even though, my kids weren't starving because of what I was spending. We're not in credit card debt. It was totally fine what I was spending, but like Susan said, I didn't really need it. It was, So anyway, I recommend going on a spending freeze for 2 weeks. Okay, this is what I'm throwing out there for people. Go on a spending freeze for 2 weeks and notice your ticks. Notice what you would normally reach for and get that you don't need. Notice the times that you're, I'm going to peruse. Is it because you're bored and you have time, so you're looking for sales on Zulily? So I just would really recommend that for people. Go on, just do 2 weeks. Don't do the 40 days like I did. Just do a 2-week spending freeze and just see if you notice if you have some triggers or some things that you're just constantly getting that you don't really need.
Is Zulily having a sale?
Zulily's always having but anyway, so that's just something and men too, it is not, it is hunting season, okay? And all those range finders, I'm looking at you guys, ammo that's on sale, a new sharp knife for gutting your elk. I know these things. I'm pointing at the camera. I know these things. You guys are going in to get your replacement orange vest and coming out with 20 boxes of ammo and a new scope. So
can't tell you the last time I bought my elk gutting knife.
But I know there's a lot of guys right now that understand what I'm saying. It's hunting season. You guys can maybe be a little more fiscally responsible too. So.
Well, and I think it's important to periodically review your bills that you pay on a monthly basis. And I'm thinking like the cable bill. I open my cable. It's an automatic pay, so it just automatically goes out. But that means I don't really look at it and I don't really scrutinize it. And you go over it and say, do I really need all these channels?
Well, and DirecTV, right? We used to have DirecTV because we live in the middle of nowhere, so we can't do cable or anything. And my husband finally talked me into just doing Amazon Fire or just the Netflix. And when I agreed to, we are saving over $100 a month, even with the Netflix and Hulu subscription, because it was like $140 for DirecTV every month. And so little things like that, just because you've done it forever, like Susan said, it's just an automatic thing. We've done it forever. That's the way it is. Maybe take a little time, do research, see what you can cut out.
Right. And that's when those automatic payments that go out can sometimes be detrimental because you don't really pay attention. You don't really see them go. So it might be a service or something that you're not even using anymore, but it's just automatically going out. So your cell phone bill is another one. Take a look at that. Can you talk to the kids? Do we need that much data? Do we need the insurance? Around our house, we kind of do need the insurance on your cell phones because things,
amen with the little kids that are grabbing my phone and stuff
just
like that.
Planning ahead. As you said, Kathy, often we'll be in the store and it's like, I guess I'll just wander around.
Yeah,
and I'll look
you
and
have
see
10 minutes to kill.
And you end up with a whole bunch more stuff.
Target. Target.
And you, Target. You are good at planning grocery shopping because you live out of town.
Yeah, we do.
See, we are not. We are like, let's go to the store. And
no, we only go every 2 weeks, and it's not even that I meal plan necessarily. I usually plan 2 meals a week where I'm like, okay, I'm going to cook this, and then the rest of the stuff is just standard things that we keep on hand. And especially with the kids going back to school and making school lunches and things like that. But some people would argue, so we have an extra refrigerator and 2 extra freezers that we've had to purchase because of that only going to town 2 weeks, and because we eat elk, we eat wild game, and we have our own pigs that we butcher, so we have to have that storage space for it. But also, that whole having our own meat, that saves I can't think of the last time I bought red meat at a store.
Well, and here's a big one, and it's one of the hardest things to do. You hear it all the time. Track your spending. Track your spending.
I'm
however
rolling
you
my
have
eyes,
to do
Roger.
it. I know.
Can you hear it?
I'm terrible about it too, but it's very eye-opening. And whether you have something like a Quicken program, that you can do the categories and run a report, or just write down every darn thing you spend money on, over the course of a week, and then go and look at it. It really is an eye-opening thing, and that's where you can really see those needs and wants.
Yeah, or have a husband that goes, hey.
Well,
every 6 months, like I
have a wife who's an excellent cook, and when she gives me a list at the store, I'm looking at stuff like capers. What? Really? What?
I have
capers. I have no idea what a caper tastes like.
You have to have those.
It's like
in the horseradish sauce for the ribeye steak.
Yeah,
that's the little thing you shove aside so you can get to the actual food that's underneath it.
No.
Capers are the food equivalent of those pillows on your bed,
They're little pickled flower buds. I think capers are a need.
They are good. My kids love them too. Yeah.
Okay. And they come in a jar about the size of your thumb.
They do.
So
they do. Well, and there's
it's
things,
not exactly cost efficient.
Well, and there's things pesto, it is so easy to just make pesto sauce at home and have it in your fridge, but I'm guilty of taking, just buying it. And some of that stuff is expensive, and I don't know that I
look for it on sale. You do the digital coupon things with the grocery stores.
I know. Yeah. See, we talked about that. That's something that I could
just plug
be
in
better.
Your phone number and it takes $10 off because you took the time to go download the coupons onto your card.
Speaking of coupons, which this is kind of the same but not, a trick that I recently learned this month, which I feel kind of lame that I just picked up on this. I've gone out to dinner with a couple of girlfriends for business meetings. There's this women's conference we're planning, so we've been meeting every week for it. And we are meeting at 5 o'clock when the appetizers are all half off at every place in town. And so our whole entire meal, we just get appetizers, and it's like $4.99, to feed a whole meal, and there's usually enough for leftovers.
And you can look at Groupon, and
exactly.
Sign up for
so
points.
Eating out isn't. There's a way to do it if you just take a little bit. I'm looking here at our list of everything.
Yeah, and we're running out of time.
Karen and my entire dating life before we got married was spent at happy hour. Because
I'm just picking up on it.
Got all those little hot trays of meatballs and stuff, and 2-for-1 drinks.
It?
Oh yeah.
Who doesn't love appetizers?
Hey,
That's the best part.
Let's go catch happy hour.
So can we end with a quote,
Yep,
Susan?
please
Since we're wrapping up. So here's 2 quotes right here. Being willing to delay pleasure for a greater result is a sign of maturity.
That's not me.
And my favorite, the quickest way to double your money is to fold it over and put it in your back pocket.
There you go. Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Kathy Holman, Prairie Wife and Heels, and we'll see you again next Monday.
Yes, ma'am.